In this video, we're going to explore the bend tool. Now, I love the bend tool. I think it's a really great addition to the modeling tool set over here in Modo. And just before we get started, I've created a very simple scene. As you can see here, we just have a very, very basic cylinder. Nothing too fancy, a number of vertical edge segments that run the height of the cylinder. Nothing too fancy at all. Now, what I want to do here is that I want to bend this cylinder. I want to kind of bend the pipe, if you will, and make it kind of go 90 degrees down here towards the bottom left-hand corner of the pipe. Now, I could model this, and there are a number of modeling tools built inside of Modo that will facilitate this type of action, but I want to show you the bend tool because it introduces a new type of modeling workflow in the Deform tab. So to bend this pipe, we're going to be using the bend tool, and if you look over here in the Deform tab, this section right here, this Deform section has a whole bunch of really, really cool tools, and here it is. Here's the bend tool. Now, the bend tool is going to deform our shape along the work plane. So like every tool inside of Modo, if we click on the tool, we fire it off, but we haven't applied it to the scene yet. Let's go back over into our 3D viewport, and I'm going to single left click. Now, what I think I'm going to do here is that I'm going to single left click at the top. Now, the reason I suggest clicking at the top is because I want to start my bend up here. And if we click where we want to start the bend, watch what happens. See that? Our tool handle gets placed exactly where we click. Now, a lot of people have a hard time understanding how this tool handle, this little blue circle, is applied to the scene. Let me kind of decode it just a little bit. If you notice which direction the blue circle is facing, it's kind of facing towards the camera. It's flat on, but I can't rotate it. And it is a 3D circle. So when I rotate it like this, you can start to see the edge of the circle. And if we rotate around back this way, we can see the face of the circle. Now, the face of the circle is aligned with the work plane. So we have to be very cautious and aware of where the work plane is before we apply the tool. So analyze the work plane. In my case, my work plane is sitting along the Z-Y axis. I can just barely make it out in the background. This light gray grid, that's the work plane. And if we analyze the tool handle, or excuse me, the tool, you can see which direction the pipe is going to be bent around. It's going to be bent parallel to the work plane. And I'm just left clicking and dragging on the blue circle, and you can see the result of that operation. I'm just bending the tool parallel to the work plane. Okay. Now let me hit undo real fast because there's a couple interface things that I want to talk about. When we activate the bend tool, 3 things pop up. Of course, we have this blue circle, and when we mouse over that blue circle, it turns yellow. And if we left click and drag, we're going to be adjusting the angle of the bend. If you look over in your tool properties, you're going to see that this channel is being manipulated when I move the little widget here in the 3D viewport. So this is what we're affecting when we left click and drag on the blue circle. Okay, let me hit undo again real fast, and there we go. Now we're back to its beginning. So there's 2 other bits. We have this blue cross up here, and we also have this blue cross down here at the bottom. Now what these 2 crosses represent is the start and the end of the bend. And these are interactive, okay? So we are going to be starting the bend from up here at the location of the cross inside the blue circle. And I, of course, can left click and drag on that. So with the starting location of the bend kind of in the center of my pipe, watch what happens when I change the angle. It only influences the geometry below the start point. All of these polygons above the start point are not getting affected at all. Okay, so this is the start point, and conversely, this is the end point way down here. And of course, we can drag that up and watch what happens. So now we're only bending just a few polygons. We're only bending basically this loop, and this loop. So the start point and the end point. And these are true 3-dimensional start and ends, so we can move these in in a lot of different locations and get some pretty cool results. Okay, so have fun with that. The bend tool. The most important thing about the bend tool is knowing where the work plane is before you activate the tool. That gets people all the time. They don't realize that the bend tool analyzes the location of the work plane and places the tool handle accordingly. It's always going to be placing this blue sphere, or this blue circle, excuse me, on the work plane. So figure out which way you need to bend your pipe or whatever it is that you're trying to bend, and make sure your work plane is running parallel to that axis. So this is the bend tool.